Hey guys, Justin here. So I've been looking to supercharge my portfolio over the past week with some smaller, higher growth stocks. And one of the stocks I found that I added to my personal portfolio is called Bionano. Now, Bionano is a genome sequencing company, and shares of its stock have already gone up over 1,200% over the past month alone, which is pretty crazy returns. But even though Bionano stock has already gone up tremendously, does not mean that its growth days are over. Currently, Bionano stock only has a market cap of $1.7 billion, while the opportunity for Bionano is huge. For perspective, Bionano competitor Pacific Biosciences, ticker symbol PACB, has a market cap of $7 billion, which represents a 400% upside in Bionano stock if they can reach the same size. Also, another competitor, Illumina, currently has a market cap of $60 billion, which represents a potential upside of 3,500% if Bionano can grow to Illumina's size. Now, keep in mind that Bionano is not guaranteed to keep growing, and it is possible that Bionano stock never becomes as big as these other competitors. But in this video, I want to talk about why I think Bionano has a very high likelihood of continuing to outperform the market, and why it could present a very good opportunity for investors who are willing to buy and hold the stock for the long term. So if you are a long-term investor and you want to grow your money quickly, I highly suggest you stick around and watch the entire video. But first, if you are new here, make sure to hit that subscribe button. I put a lot of time and research into each and every video I make, and I don't want you to miss out on any of them. Also, if you could do me a quick favor and hit that like button for the YouTube algorithm, I would really appreciate it. Okay, back to the video. Bionano stock has rocketed higher over the past month thanks to an increased awareness of their Sapphire optical genome mapping technology. The technology that powers the Sapphire system has been around since 2019, but not many people knew about it, as it was still an experimental technology. But over the past month, there has been studies that have shown just how effective this new Sapphire system is, and that it is actually superior to similar products from larger competitors. Oh, and also it costs a lot less, which we will get into later in the video. But before we go any further, I first want to explain what the Sapphire system is. The Sapphire system is an optical genome mapping technology that seeks to identify the underlying causes of diseases by analyzing the structures of different genomes. And through uncovering the genes that cause diseases, it enables individuals with those genes to obtain early treatment before symptoms start showing. Furthermore, analysis of what are known as cancer genomes has enabled researchers to accurately predict who is at the highest risk of developing different types of cancers before they actually show symptoms, which could revolutionize how we treat cancer patients in the future. Now, the idea of using genome mapping technology to identify and treat diseases before they happen is very different from current healthcare practices. Today, we don't go to a hospital until we start showing symptoms that something is wrong, which works decently well. But the problem with this approach is that some people will wait a very long time to seek treatment, and at that point, the disease is already present and will most likely have progressed to a point where it is untreatable, or at least where treatment is very difficult and costly. Think, for example, cancer. You might have a gene variation that makes you predisposed to having a certain form of cancer, such as skin cancer. Now, if you knew this through genetic testing, then you would most likely take preventative measures to try and lower your risk of getting skin cancer in the first place. Also, you would probably be much more likely to have regular skin cancer screenings, and in general would be much more aware of any weird skin abnormalities that pop up, all of which could help you either prevent skin cancer altogether or intervene before things get too serious, saving you time, money, and leading to better healthcare outcomes. So that is the entire goal of genome sequencing companies like Bionano, to accurately and cost-effectively read genomic sequences to predict genetic diseases. And if we go to Bionano's website, we can see a clear picture of how they do this. This paragraph sums it up pretty nicely and says, structural variants, also known as SVs, make up the majority of human genomic variation, driving genetic diversity but also contributing to genetic diseases. SVs are frequently flanked by repetitive sequences which are challenging or impossible for current sequencing technologies to decipher. Bionano's optical genome mapping reveals SVs with up to 99% sensitivity, even at allele fractions as low as 1%, which is not possible using other genomics technology. So that is somewhat straightforward, but essentially when you see the abbreviation SV, which stands for structural variants, that is the goal of the technology, to accurately find these structural variants without creating false positives. And we can see below this paragraph a visual of the different SVs Bionano's Sapphire system can detect. It can detect insertions and deletions, inversions, duplications, balanced and unbalanced translocations, and fractional copy number variations. And we can see here a very good brief summary of what Bionano's technology is actually looking for. It says, detect structural variations unbiased and genome-wide with Bionano optical genome mapping at high sensitivities and extremely low false positive rates. Discover the variants that are missed by short and long read sequencing with one powerful workflow. And then it has the price of $450 per genome next to it. So now that we understand what Bionano does and what its technology is used for, let's move on to the next part of the video and attempt to answer the question of how Bionano's technology compares to their competitors. Well, to help answer this question, let's look at this press release from December 23rd of last year. We can see here that Bionano's Sapphire system detected considerably more structural variants than one of their leading competitors did. A study by the Human Genome Structural Variation Consortium revealed that their sequencing method based on Pacific Biosciences Hi-Fi genome mapping technology detected only 72% of the large SVs that Bionano's optical genome mapping detected across 32 different human genomes. The consortium developed its custom sequencing method by combining sequencing with Pacific Biosciences and the single-strand prep and sequencing method StrandSeq to establish a comprehensive catalog of human SVs with base pair and haplotype resolution. The cost of this method is estimated, based on listing price, to be between $10,000 and $20,000 per genome. Optical gene mapping with Sapphire, which costs less than $500 per genome, was shown to be significantly more sensitive than the other sequencing method. Now, what is important to note about this press release is that this test was not meant to be a head-to-head comparison between Pacific Biosciences technology and Bionano's technology. Also, even though Bionano's Sapphire system outperformed PacBio's in one area, does not mean that PacBio's technology is inferior or useless. In fact, PacBio CSO Jonas Korlak said that the company is grateful that PacBio was used as a foundational technology in this exciting study, but also noted that PacBio sequencing provides both exact and sequence-resolved SV breakpoints, as well as the actual sequences of insertions, both of which Bionano Genomics technology does not do. So this is a really good point from the press release that I wanted to highlight. While there are real benefits to using Bionano's genome mapping over their competitors, that does not mean that Bionano's tech is superior in every way. So don't think that Bionano is going to have a stranglehold on the genome mapping market with this new technology. The reality is that there will be applications where Bionano's tech will be best suited, and there will be applications where other companies' tech will be best suited. And it seems like the main difference between the two technologies lies in the length of the genome that a company is trying to sequence. Bionano is limited in that it needs to have samples where the base pairs are at least 500 for insertions and deletions and 500,000 for fractional copy number variants. So there are limitations to what Bionano's Sapphire system can accurately analyze, and investors need to be aware of that. But the fact that Bionano's Sapphire system can do things that no other test can means that Bionano will have a competitive advantage moving forward. Analyst Kevin DeGeeter from Oppenheimer notes that the results of the study confirmed Sapphire's unique clinical application in 3 key areas when compared to competitors' products. He lists the 3 key advantages of the Sapphire system as a superiority in resolving structural variant complexity related to cancer, added sensitivity in detecting inclusions and deletions in regions related to neurodevelopment, and Sapphire's cost effectiveness when compared to other sequencing technologies. So the fact that the Sapphire system is better for cancer research and neurodevelopmental disease research, on top of its low cost, is going to give it a clear advantage in the marketplace. And in terms of cost, the Sapphire system is much cheaper. Using Pacific Biosciences genome sequencing tech resulted in a cost per genome of about $10,000 to $20,000, which is much more expensive than using Bionano's Sapphire system, which only costs $500 per genome. And because of Sapphire's low cost and high accuracy, analysts believe that 2021 will be a big year for adoption of the Sapphire system for clinical use in the cytogenics market. Now, in order to understand how Bionano makes money, let's take a look at the 3 options they list on their website. The first option is to simply submit your samples to Bionano and have them run the tests themselves. This, of course, is the lowest upfront cost option and costs $650 per genome. Now, the next option is to sign a rental agreement for the Sapphire system and agree to run a certain number of samples per month. Bionano will install the Sapphire system free of charge and then will charge $550 per genome with a commitment of 120 genomes per 6 months. And then the last option you can see here is to buy the Sapphire system outright and run your own samples yourself. Now, this is the most expensive upfront option since a Sapphire system costs at a minimum $150,000 for the machine itself, but it does come with a cost savings of $100 per genome if you also buy a 240 genome bundle. So I think these represent good options for providers to start using Bionano services with very low upfront costs, and it also gives providers the option to upgrade once a Sapphire system has proven its usefulness, which should result in higher revenue for Bionano as the year progresses. Now, when it comes to Bionano stock, I think there are a few key risk factors investors need to be aware of. The first is a difficulty in understanding genome sequencing technology. This is not something that is easy to understand, nor is it something that very many investors will take the time to research. Also, it's important to understand the differences between competitors' products in order to determine which company is the best one to invest in. And without a clear understanding of how genome sequencing works and how different competitors' products compare to one another, it is really hard to make an informed investment decision, which I'm sure is part of the reason why you are watching this video right now. Now, what this all means is that most investors will simply buy the genome stocks that are grabbing the headlines, regardless of whether or not they are actually the best stocks to invest in. Also, this is a very competitive and disruptive field in the medical sector. So there are dozens of companies with different products that are competing for investors' attention. And this will make it harder for investors to find the winning stocks in this sector. Now, the clear leader in this space is Illumina, and they already have expensive genome sequencing machines in many hospitals and laboratories across the US, which will serve as a big competitive advantage for them over the coming years. Companies who have already spent the large upfront cost of acquiring Illumina sequencing machines will be very unlikely to switch, which will lead to high recurring revenue for Illumina over the long term. But with that being said, I do think there is room for smaller competitors in this space. And I think Bionano is onto something here. Their Sapphire system is doing things that others simply cannot do, and they are doing it at a very cheap price point. So I think that Bionano does have the potential to compete well in this space, and I do think they have a good shot at gaining market share over the coming years. And because of this, I have actually added Bionano stock to my portfolio at an allocation of right around 2%, which is roughly $5,000. And I've also added Pacific Biosciences to my portfolio at a similar allocation. So I am trying to diversify a little bit, and I do like both of these companies as I think they both have unique products, and so I decided to add them both to my portfolio. But with that being said, let me know what you think about Bionano stock down in the comment section below. Do you think they will continue to grow, or do you think the competition will wipe them out? Let me know. Also, make sure to hit that like button if you have not already done so, and check out my channel where I have a bunch of other great videos that you might find interesting. And with that, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.